Okay, what we're going to do here is put the timing chain assembly together. There's a key that fits in the crankshaft, and here is the gear that goes on the bottom, and you'll see it has a timing mark here. So let's put the key in first. And then we'll line it up here. Now we have to tap that on. So since I don't have a socket big enough to fit around there, I have an old pipe which I will use, and we'll just gently type it on there. Let's just check, see if it's going alright. The key is coming through. Check some more. Okay, we're almost there. Well, let's verify that by putting the timing chain or the sprocket for the cam. And you'll see that lines up, so we have that on far enough. Let's turn the motor until it's perfectly aligned with this guy, because what we're trying to do here is align this cam these two dots have to perfectly match. You see, now that we have rotated the motor in the right position, or the crankshaft in the right position, let's install the chain. Okay, see, it's not quite 100%, so let's just move it one more. And here we are, getting it. What we're going to do is install this, and then we're going to rotate it and see if it comes back to the same position again. So we'll lightly tighten these bolts, and then we'll torque these. These are 20 foot-pounds. See, our alignment is pretty close. So now let's turn the engine over. And you'll see how they see, this dot's coming up again. This guy's still going around. Got a long way to go. It's right over here. Okay. Okay, there are two two lined up. The piston is up in the up position. So now all we have to do is torque those. So we'll set our torque wrench 0 on 20, and we'll just torque these. Okay, there's 20, 20, 20. And there's our installation. Okay, let's put this head on. All cleaned off. All the cylinders are clean. Pistons are in there. Here's the gasket. Okay, notice the gasket goes right here. It says up. So there's a dowel pin here, there's the bolts along the bottom, and the rest of the bolts. Okay. Just put the gasket right on there. So it seats itself. Push this tab down. Make sure that one's got two. Okay, now let's get the head. Okay, there's the head. All cleaned off. Looking good. Here's the two dowel pins. We got the gasket. It's pointing up. Everything's clean. So let's just set it on there. Okay, there. It's set right on the two dowel pins. So let's get some bolts. Okay, so we'll start with the smaller bolts, and then we'll go with the bigger ones. And then when we get them to where we need to tighten them up, then we have to go with a sequence where it spreads outwards. So let me just put a little oil on these to make them easier to go in there. Plus I want to make them really nice and easy, so when I torque them, I get the full value out of it. Okay, we'll ratchet those down later on. Now we'll get some of the longer bolts. And then the two on the end are just a little bit smaller. See there? Just a little bit, because they are recessed in there. Okay, got my ratchet extension. What I'm going to do is, this is 5/8, but I'm going to use a 6-sided socket so that I don't strip this at all. So we'll get these all down. And then we'll get the right torquing sequence. Okay, remember these on the end are a little shorter. Okay, looks like these top ones are tightened down. Now let's do the bottom ones. Okay, all the bolts are tightened. So here's our torque wrench. We have to set this for 65. So we bring it up to the 60, turn it up to 65, and lock it down. Okay, for the first one in the sequence is this one. One. Here's 2. And then number 3 is down here. Okay. Now let me look in the book here. Okay, number 4. And number 5. Okay, number 5. Here's number 6. 6. Here's number 8. 9. Okay. 9. Let me look again. Okay, this is number 10. Here's one. Okay, so what we did is we torqued these all up and went spread out that way so that the gasket sits down perfect. Okay, that takes care of this side. Okay, let's install the head on the other side. So this will be driver's side. Okay, here's our head gasket. Once again, this is up, and here's our 2 dowel pins over here, over there. Put those right on there. Both line up. Just hit the tabs over. Okay, all nice and flush. With this type of head gasket, you don't need extra gasket cement. Okay, here's our head. We'll find the 2 dowel pins. Okay. Here, let me rotate this just a little bit. Okay, I put all these other bolts in. A little oil on the threads. We'll get all these flushed down. Then we'll put the top ones in. We'll get our torque wrench out and start torquing these. Okay, let me rotate this motor. bolts. Okay, the two short ones go on the ends. Okay, that's all the bolts. Let me tighten those up. Okay, so all the bolts are generally tight. Now what we have to do is get the torque wrench and then set it to 65 foot-pounds. Then we'll start from the center and move to the sides. So the sequence is 1, 2, and 3. There's 1, 2. Okay, that's 3. Let me see what else the sequence says. Okay, here's number 4. 5. 6. 7. There's 8. There's 9. Okay, the last 2 on this side. Okay, so we went out this way and went out this way, so the head is on there, properly torqued. Okay, now that we have the heads on, we have to put the valve lifters and the push rods and the rocker arms together. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of just doing them all one bank there, we're going to follow them around with the correct firing order. Okay, so first we'll start with the valve lifters here, and these are hydraulic. In some of the race cars for higher performance, these are solid lifters, but okay, there's one. Okay, they go all the way down because the valves are closed because the piston is up. And this is when it should be firing. Okay. There's 1. There's 2. Okay, so how these rocker arms are, there's a little swivel here and then a nut on top. So this goes down. There's also a locking nut. You see, it's really, it will tighten against the bowl here. Okay, here's another one. I already have this in there. Put the bolt down here. Okay, so how you adjust these after you assemble them, when the slack is taken out of them, take a little bit more, it's, the book says 1 turn, but basically several people only do 3/4 of a turn down. That one's adjusted. Take the slack out of it, then 3/4 of a turn. There. These are adjusted. Okay, that's one installed. Now, when we go around to the firing order, number 8 is the next one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the motor over, and I'm also going to insert this little piece of baling wire, and that'll tell me exactly when it's all the way up. Okay, so now that we know that that one's all the way up on the top, let's take our oil can, there the valve lifters, drop them right in. Next go push rods. There's one. There's the other. Rubber arms. There's some oil on the swivels. And we'll tighten those down. Tighten it down until all the slack is gone. Okay, and then it's 3/4 of a turn. Just one. Okay, that's 2 installed. Okay, 5 is next. Put a little oil on these guys. Drop them right in there. Okay, and now we'll get our little wire and screwdriver. Stick the wire in the cylinder. Turn the engine until the piston is all the way up at the top. There one push rod, and there's the other one. Put a little oil on these guys. And tighten them down. Slack is taken out, 3/4 of a turn. Once all the slack is taken out, okay, another one done. Okay, with the valve lifters in place, put our 2 push rods in, drop them right into position, put our rocker arms on, roll up the swivel bolts or swivel washers, 1, 2. Here, add the 2 nuts. There we go. 3/4 of a turn. Okay, there we go. All installed. Alright, when this motor gets running, what'll happen is the oil will come, the oil pump starts pumping. The oil pump is way down in here. It'll start pumping oil and coming through this line through the block, and it goes into the valve lifters. Come into the valve lifters, the oil will come up these tubes. It'll come out this little hole and it'll lubricate this thing right here. I mean the rocker arms. It lubricates the rocker arms. Okay, there's the oil be all over here, and then it goes back into the block through this hole and some of these other holes, but mainly these 2 ones. And then what happens when you look inside the block, you got these holes here where the oil goes back into the bottom of the engine, into the oil pan to be pumped back up again. So comes through the valve lifters, through the push rods, and it'll come up these little tiny pinholes here. Well, not really pinholes. It comes through these, it'll come up through the holes here and lubricate all this stuff up on top. And also, it will go into these holes, and that will put oil on this chain. And then there's holes where it goes back into the oil pan. After we clean the cover off, realize we need to change the seal. So I'm going to put it here in place. Let's see if I can just tap it out of there. Maybe I can pull back some. Okay, that's it. That was pretty easy. So now let's put the new one in.